We got to talk about old Kraven the Hunter. Jay, do you love the Sony Spider-Man universe?
Not in particular.
Spider-Man? You do?
I didn't even see Venom 3. Did you see Venom 3?
No. I did see Venom 2 with you.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all. I did fall asleep. I was next to you.
You were right next to me. You were snoring.
I mean, it's, Venom, Carnage, the story's it's definitely not comic book friendly, but they've put out some bangers like Madam Web. They're shooting for the moon on this one, on Kraven. They really want to set that record as the worst. What do you call this? The Sony Spider-Man universe? Is that what we're calling this?
That is technically what it's called, the Sony Spider-Man universe, despite the fact that Spider-Man doesn't make an appearance. All of these characters that are supposed to be villains towards him end up making appearances, but instead they're fucking anti-heroes. And obviously the first Venom movie was a massive smash hit for them. The second one did well. Third one, not so great financially, but it did still recover the amount of money it needs to be profitable. Unfortunately, everything else they've done has been a complete and total nightmare. Morbius was a disaster. Madam Web was a disaster. And now Kraven the Hunter is set to be released this weekend. And Sony's already said, hey, you know what? We're not doing any more of these. We're hitting the pause button. No more Sony Spider-Man universe movies for us. We're done with this fucking experiment. And as Kraven is set for release, they waited to the last possible moment for the review embargo to lift. And I feel like there might be a reason for that because the first reactions so far have not been great. Kraven the Hunter right now it's sitting at a 14% from the critics. And of course, these are critics. Critics have been extremely wrong in the past. Audiences have been like, go fuck yourselves. They love this movie. It ends up being a massive hit. Venom. I think Venom only had like a 30 or a 35 from the critics, something like that. But when it comes to the last couple Sony Spider-Man universe movies like this, they've been pretty spot on. Morbius got around 11 or a 12%. Madam Web got an 11%. And now Kraven with a 14%. And here you can see the Madam Web response, 11% from Madam Web. And worse than that, worse than just it getting destroyed already, it's not going to make any money at the box office. Kraven the Hunter tracking to open below Madam Web at the box office, tracking for between a $13 and $15 million opening weekend. Madam Web started off at a $13.5 million opening. So there is a potential that we set a new record low with something like Kraven. I'm going to watch this movie either today or tomorrow at some point, and I'll give my thoughts. But holy shit, it's just hard to give a fuck about this universe, especially when they continue to turn characters that could be pretty compelling villains into these like anti-hero stories in a universe that has no fucking actual hero in Spider-Man.
I think the best thing to come out of this universe was when Morbius came out and people were trashing on it so bad that it was trending. And somebody over there at Sony was like, oh my gosh, Morbius is trending. Let's re-release it in the theater again. I think people are excited. Who the heck is working over there? You remember that? And they re-released it in the theater and it just completely bombed. Again? It was the second time it bombed. It's like, who are they listening to? They saw it on like either Twitter trends or Google trends or something. And they were like, oh my God, it's trending. We got to get it back in the theater. Here's our chance to recover. It was just
it's Morbin time, baby.
Yeah. It was just people laughing at it. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. And, obviously, even some of these movies that were massively successful, just because the critics like it doesn't mean that no one will show up. Look at Venom, right? Venom was a huge box office success for them, especially based on what they put into the movie. Let There Be Carnage, a little less so. The Last Dance, a little less so as well. But these three at the bottom are the ones that have just completely and totally tanked for them. And Kraven, based on the projections, based on these initial reactions, seems to be headed down that same path. But maybe it'll be fucking awesome. But something tells me it won't be.
I don't think so.
At least Madam Web, I could sit there and I could laugh at how terrible it was. There was a little bit of enjoyment from that aspect, how ridiculously cringe some of the parts were. I can only hope to get some of the same from Kraven the Hunter, but I don't know if I can even expect that.
Just curious, do you think if like Madam Web did very, very well, that they would be the heroes in this universe and they would do some crossover? Like if that were they setting that up for anything or not really?
I have no idea. Like
Okay.
I don't know what their fucking
Just a theory.
plans were.
Just
Like
curious.
you've got a couple different Spider-Man that you could have used for this. I personally wouldn't have brought in Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But I think you could have still used Spider-Man. I don't know if Andrew Garfield would have been interested or invested in doing anything like this, especially after No Way Home. But
that is true.
I don't understand what their end goal was for this.
Just like cash grabs, probably. Hey, we've got these characters that no one else can use. Let's just make some movies and see what happens.
Like Venom works because Venom is a super recognizable villain.
Yeah.
Tom Hardy's funny and it fucking works. Now, to me, it worked for the first one. The second one, I was already out because I'm like, it's just the fucking first movie all over again.
Yeah.
And I didn't even watch the third one. But that movie, they probably thought they could really capitalize on this using their villains in this universe this way. Because I think it was like a $70 or $80 million budget for the first Venom movie. And that movie made what, like $800 or $900 million, something like that. I actually think that's a decent strategy you could do something with if you're talking about making these lower budgeted movies. But the problem is you still have to make some fucking money. Not everything has to be $1 billion. Not everything has to be 800 or 900 million. But you can't have Madam Webs. You can't have Morbiuses. You can't have what looks to be this Kraven the Hunter movie and expect to be successful.
But it wasn't at the end of No Way Home. Didn't Venom make an appearance? Like at an end credit scene that he might have gotten like zapped, in the multiverse. So they was like hinting that they might bring him in. And they didn't do anything with that. So, but yeah, they could have grabbed a Spider-Man and put him in there. It probably would have helped.
Certainly wouldn't have hurt.
No, I wouldn't hurry. But well, this one's over. We'll close the book on this.
The problem is you still have like Vulture in that universe too, which is a Tom Holland Spider-Man villain.
Yeah.
Vulture is in this Sony Spider-Man universe. So in theory, it should be Tom Holland Spider-Man. But like none of this stuff makes any sense.
No, they just did that to hopefully gain some excitement for the next film. So you think we'll see any of these characters cross over in a Marvel Spider-Man? Maybe.
I don't think so. I think the next time we're going to see Spider-Man proper is going to be in Spider-Man 4. And I think that is going to be. I don't think they're going to try to fucking do all the multiverse shit like they did in the last one. I think they're going to try to save a little bit of that. Maybe bringing Toby and Andrew back for Avengers Secret Wars or whatever.
Yeah, I think it'll be Secret Wars. We'll see a bunch that they'll be able to open the floodgates and bring whoever they want for that one.
And I hope we actually do get a little bit more down to earth, street level, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man type of thing from Tom Holland in Spider-Man 4. That's what they kind of promised people at the end of No Way Home, that's what they're going to do. I hope they stick to that. Who knows? You never know what could happen. But are you going to go see Kraven?
I have no interest whatsoever.
Are you going to go see War for the Rohirrim?
No. No. I know the Goonies is going to be re-released next month. I'll probably go see that.
I'm not a big Goonies fan.
It's okay. It's an acquired taste.
Yeah, I can see that.